Cool. All right. Well, I think we've got a crowd, so that's good. Um, get everybody going here. Welcome. I'm Chuck Enderlin. I'm the chair. I'm going to call this to order. Something uh, for today. We've got Zoom going on. It's our first time doing a general meeting completely via Zoom. It changes things quite a bit. So here's what we're going to be doing. This is the idea for today and how we're going to proceed on through this. Jimmy, I'm just going to, when I have to bail, I'm just going to leave this up on my screen to try to keep everybody on track to help us out a little bit. So we've got some internal stuff to do. We've got Ed Tarver, a Senate candidate for the special election, who's joining us today. Thank you for coming and being with us here today, Ed. I was telling John earlier that we're going to make sure that this meeting gets on YouTube as well, so you can link to it and use it however you want to use it for. And then after Mr. Tarver gives us an update on his Senate campaign, we were going to have some of the internal outreach issues and some of the other ideas we have, and then we've extended invitations to all of our local candidates. If any of them show up, they'll have some time as well. So for right now, we'll go ahead and start with Bonnie for the treasurer's report and go from there.
All right. Balance brought forward $3,243.33. Deposits during the month of July, $937.22. Withdrawals, which include campaign donations, and basically with neighborhood nets, we had deposits of $525, and then we reimbursed that back to Al. So our expenditures for July were $1,750. Our balance on hand is $2,430.55. Since we are going totally electronic, anyone that has not made any dues payments, either due by mail to our post office box 276 in downtown Noonan, or using the Act Blue on our website, has been very efficient. Most of our deposits during the month of July were via electronically, and that has worked out. It costs us like less than $2 a month for you to do that. Not $2, and not $2, again, $2 a month, no matter, it's not per item. It's, I think, it's like last month it was $1.33.
All right.
Oh, let me just say, if you have, if you want to do something electronically and you want it earmarked, for instance, specifically for neighborhood nets, send an email to the web, to the chair email, indicating that I gave $50 online and I want that specifically to be used for neighborhood nets. Otherwise, it goes into our general funds.
Cool. Thank you, Bonnie. Any other questions? Any questions from the floor for Bonnie here? I'm going to scroll through. If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and speak up. There's a raise hand function in Zoom. You can also just start waving at the screen, and I'm scanning through and looking for everybody. Don't see any hands raised. Don't see any other concerns. So we will continue on with the next item on our agenda. All right, cool. We've got a bunch of people showing up. This is great. All right. So an update on our electronic meetings and kind of how this is going into how we're going to handle things going forward. So last week, the Biden campaign, the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic Party of Georgia, all passed guidance down to campaigns and to parties and groups across the country to suspend in-person meetings until further notice and do everything electronically. So that's what we're doing. Your committee voted on Sunday before our first committee meeting to do that and to move all of this online. We're using Zoom. This gives us some opportunities and some options, makes things a little bit challenging sometimes. There's going to be some kinks and some things that we'll have to work out and figure out as we go through this. So if you've used Zoom before and you have ideas for best practices, that would be great. Send them to us. Our subcommittees, our Get Out the Vote committee, which you'll hear from near the end of the meeting, our finance committee, our membership outreach committee, our candidate recruitment committees, they're still doing the work that needs to be done, especially our Get Out the Vote committee. This is that peak season for them. And so they'll be able to use this same Zoom setup as well for hosting their meetings to get that going. And we're going to be needing that because if we're going to emphasize absentee ballots and get that going, hey, this is something that we'll have to do through the web, through remote usage. So this is the challenge we're going to see for a while. When I talked to the Democratic Party of Georgia about how long this was going to stay, their expectation is that through at least the election season or the end of the year. If you've been following the news, you've seen that everything's going crazy. The Marlins are currently leading COVID 20-19. Thank you, Jimmy. Google's not having their employees come back until June. Microsoft just announced they're not having their employees come back until January. So my expectation is this distributed reality may be our new reality for at least sometime into 2021 as well. And that's going to weigh into how we do Get Out the Vote operations and recruitment for the municipal elections in 2021. That's kind of been my emphasis is let's look at some of these elections that have really low turnout where we can win with just sheer turnout. If you look at the numbers, it's a little more daunting at the presidential level and on the federal year campaigns, but these odd number year, November elections, these are elections where we can go in, run some candidates, and not under the radar, but you can actually pull out enough likely and strong Democratic voters that don't usually vote in municipal elections. And with that, you can flip the entire, flip the tide. And in Newnan, for instance, you could take control of the entire Newnan City Council by doing that. So that's kind of where we stand with electronic meetings and what we're going to be doing going forward, how this is going to work. Jimmy Glenn is with us. He's got, if there's any updates from him, he'll be able to pass that because I'm going to have to leave at about 10 o'clock. Committee elections. So we've had a bunch of people have gotten busy or gotten into college and had all sorts of other things going on and have had to leave and go do other things instead of spending their Sunday afternoon or their Monday evenings working with the committee and making the decisions. The Coweta County Democratic Committee is the actual legal authority that makes all of the decisions for the party. It's kind of like the board of directors. And we have 30 positions. They're elected to 4-year terms every alternating even numbered year. So this year we've got over 15 posts up. I think District 5, which is kind of downtown Newnan-ish, is the only county commission district that doesn't have more than 3 seats available. Every other district in the county has 4 or more seats that are up for election this year. This includes, of course, our committee members that are up for re-election this year. Their seats are not guaranteed. They do have to, run again and go for it. The only requirement is you've got to be a Democrat and you've got to be in the party for 30 days, I think, beforehand to make that happen. So everybody on this call is eligible for the committee. Pretty much anybody who receives the emails is eligible. And more importantly, if you have friends who are in the more rural parts of Coweta in those districts 1 through 4, we need representation from there. We need people to come in and give us those ideas, give us that perspective from their community, because that's something real important. And with the use of distributed meetings, it's something that may be a little easier to attend. We're looking at modifying our bylaws when this pandemic ends to possibly allow for that electronic meeting and remote meeting so that we can have better attendance from some of those more far-flung districts or far-flung areas of the county so that people aren't having to drive 45 minutes each way to come into Newnan, do a meeting, and then head on out. They're 2-year terms. The election will be no earlier than our October general meeting, and then no later than the end of November. The reason for that is our bylaws state that you take office the first day of the month following your election. So it would be kind of mean to elect you to the committee and then not allow you to vote in officer elections in December. So to prevent that, we're going to make sure that we have those elections before the end of November, so that we can all come in. You'll vote on a chair, 2 vice chairs, a secretary, and a treasurer for our committee. This work is important. The biggest thing we do from an electoral perspective is we can qualify candidates for county level offices. And there's a lot of those. It's not just county commissioner, it's all of the, the county coroners, the county examiners, all of the different level county positions are elected, and we can qualify them. It saves money for the candidates, and then we can give that money right back to them and help them out with that. We also are allowed to get involved in nonpartisan elections, which are the municipal elections. And our rules specifically state we can jump in on those with gusto. And like I said, those are elections that we can really go in and make a difference and win. But that doesn't happen if we don't have people who are willing to go in and put in a little bit of time each month. Just like a lady, put in a little bit of time each month and make these elections happen. So if you want to run for county committee, just send an email to me. It's chair.cowetadems@gmail.com. You can also leave a message in the chat because I'm saving that too. And we'll get back to you and get, make sure that you're able to run for election and get you on the committee. Jimmy, you were holding up a 4. Was that for the October meeting date or something I missed?
No. It's the committee terms are 4-year terms. It's not 2-year terms.
Sorry.
Officers are 2 years. The committee members are 4.
Thanks, Jimmy. That's why we have friends like Jimmy to help pick up the slacks when the chair forgets to unmute himself or anything like that. Are there any questions about the county committee, either what we do or how we're going to run the elections? I didn't mention that. They're going to be a caucus style. So to accept nominations from the floor, we're probably going to set it up with multiple Zoom rooms, and it's going to be just a small mess instead of those might be staggered by time so that I can jump in and kind of lead everything. They might, if we have other people who have used Zoom, we might spread them out a little more. But basically everybody from whatever county commission district it is will come together. There will be nominations either from people who have already submitted them or nominations from the floor. Just someone said, I want to run, and someone else says, that's a good idea. Hey, congratulations, you're on the ballot. We'll create a ballot and probably do it through Zoom. We'll vote, and if there are open seats, we're going to fill them starting with the elections due in 2020. And then if we have, for instance, 4 open seats, those first 3 for 2020 will get filled. And then the 4th candidate would fill the seat term expiring in 2022 because we need as many ideas and as many people and as much help as we can get doing this. Again, the committee mainly makes the decisions. The work, you can do it outside the committee. There's nothing requiring committee membership unless you want to be one of the officers responsible for doing stuff like this. And there, I can guarantee there will at least be 1 open officer position this year because our secretary has had to step back and take care of some other stuff on her end. So right now we have no secretary, which is also why we have no minutes to approve. We're going to take care of that for the next meeting and get all of that caught back up on that. And are there any questions on county committees, additions? I'm seeing no hands. Awesome. Let me double check this chat window. Okay, cool. There's that. All right. And why is it not popping up the share screen? There we go. Okay. Next item I think is, next item is our Atkinson Arnold update. So with everything going electronic, we've unfortunately made the difficult decision to cancel for this year our annual fundraising Atkinson Arnold dinner. It was going to be October 1st. That I think it's Thursday night. And it was just with the pandemic and everything else, it's not going to happen. We are looking at some alternatives. Mr. Tarver, you'll probably be interested in this too. We're reaching out to the other campaigns and seeing if we can do kind of a substitute meet the candidates. Maybe not a true candidate forum because that was never the point of the Atkinson Arnold dinner, but give the candidates for the offices an opportunity to come in, speak, to spread their message, and to get it out before the early voting season starts. And we've got candidates. We said Al Smith is unopposed in District 5. Pearl Presley has a opponent that she'll need to defeat for County Commission District 4. We've got House Districts 71 with Fred Robner, 72 with Jill Prouty, and 132 with Bob Trammell, who needs to be reelected. they'll be able to talk to us. We've been talking with the John Ossoff campaign. By the way, those of you who are paying attention may have seen that John's wife was diagnosed, and John's been in self-isolating. His tests came back negative, so that's good. So he'll be able to keep going. But we've reached out to the Ossoff campaign, and hopefully they can show up. And then we've got with the Tarver campaigns here now. I've been talking with the Lieberman campaign. We're reaching out to the Warnock campaign and any of the other special Senate campaigns to give them all an opportunity to come out, spread their message. And we're also talking with our guest speaker, Dr. Rashad Ritchie, now double Dr. Rashad Ritchie, to see if he can figure out some way to come in. He's a great speaker, and I'm not sure what he'll be wanting to do, but Heather Gay, our first vice chair, was heading up the Accident Oral Committee. She's kind of passed that off since it's gone electronic and fundraising to Frankie Hardin. She's handling some of the fundraising aspects, and then we're going to be looking in and seeing what we can get from the candidates to come in. If you have ideas on what you want to see, whether that's more candidates or Zoom feats of strength or Mario Kart challenges or whatever, just let us know, because part of this, the whole point of the Accident Arnold Dinner is to raise some money so that we can support these candidates. We've given money to our local House candidates. That's not going to be enough. We need to get communication out and distribute mailers. We need to make videos for people to show them how to fill out absentee ballots. We need to make sure that we have people who can get out to the polls, and we need to make sure that we have volunteers and supplies on election day to go into those lines and give out drinks or blankets or hot coffee or snacks for people who are waiting in line to vote, because the pandemic is still going to be going on because we refuse to do anything about it at the state or federal level. So we're going to have longer lines. There's going to be more distancing, and we're going to need people to go out and encourage people to go and vote. Because if we do that, like I said, it will be very difficult, if not quite possibly mathematically impossible, to flip Coweta County blue. But what we can do is add to that national tally. We can add to that statewide tally, and then we can elect John Ossoff, we can elect Joe Biden, we can elect Ed Tarver or whoever else comes out of that special election and heads into a runoff if we don't get to 50 outright. That's the update on Accident Arnold. I didn't see, I know Heather's busy taking her kid to Auburn and getting that set up. I didn't see Frankie on the call, and she is not on there. So if you have, like I said, any other questions about the dinner or how we're planning on doing that, send them to the chair, and we'll get them answered as best we can. With that, we have a guest today. We're very happy to have Dr. Ed Tarver. Ed was a U.S. attorney appointed by President Obama, served in the Army, I believe. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, now you're not a West Point guy, right?
I am not a West Point guy.
Okay, good.
ROTC.
Out of the chat if that was the case. He was Navy 2003. So it's good that we don't have to get into a brawl right now. And to help introduce him, we have a friend of his and a campaign volunteer from Coweta, Mr. John Thrasher. John and Ed, y'all are unmuted. Y'all have the floor. Jimmy, I'm going to hand you hosting duties, and I'm going to disappear because I've got a church event with my daughter that I've got to get to. So thank y'all for coming. Thank you, Ed. Thank you, John. And thank you, Jimmy, for taking this over for me.
Great. Thank you very much, Chuck. I do want to just briefly give you a little background on my friend, Ed Tarver. I met Ed back in 1995 when both of us were part of Leadership Georgia, and have been proud to call him a friend since then. Ed's background, he's from Augusta, graduate of Augusta College. He served 7 years in the United States Army, attained the rank of captain. After his military service, he went to and graduated from UGA Law School, and then began a career in the legal profession. He began clerking for a federal judge in 1991. He was elected to the state senate in 2005 from District 22, I believe, Ed.
That's correct.
And served for 4 years before being appointed by President Obama to be the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Georgia. and served in that capacity, I believe, from 2009 until 2017. So with that as background, I'd like to turn it over to my good friend and candidate for United States Senate, Ed Tarver.
John, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the Coweta Democrats, and thank you for allowing me to participate in to join this meeting this morning. John, thank you for that summary, that excellent summary of part of my history. And the reason I want to thank John initially for that is because I believe that leadership is about experience. And the one thing that I tell folks that I'm able to talk to is that I'm the most experienced person on the ballot, even if you consider the person that Governor Kemp appointed to serve in that seat right now. In addition to my public service, John's talked about our association in Leadership Georgia, where I not only participated in the class, but was able to go through the chairs and became selected as the first African-American president of the Leadership Georgia in the history of the Leadership Georgia organization. I've also served my community here in Augusta. I was certainly very active in my local Chamber of Commerce and was selected to be Chamber President, having gone through the chairs in Augusta as well, in addition to having served several terms on the Georgia Chamber's board. I tell you that to emphasize the fact that I'm certainly business friendly. I have served on the boards of two community banks. I'm currently serving on the board of First Community Bank, which is a bank that has relationships in both Georgia and South Carolina. And so I understand the impact that, and in addition to serving on the boards of the community banks, I'm also a business owner myself. I have a small law practice with my law partner, Ed Enoch, and which I started after leaving the U.S. Attorney's Office in 2017. I think that based upon my interaction with Georgia voters across the state, it seems consistent, and it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. Georgians aren't getting from Washington what we need, what we expect, and it's time for a change. Certainly would like to focus on the issues that affecting us. Many of those issues have been enhanced or highlighted by the pandemic. I don't think any of us on the ballot who will be on the ballot on November the 3rd expected that when we qualified that we would be in the midst of a pandemic, that we would be relegated to reaching out and communicating, campaigning, trying to persuade people using Zoom and telephone conference calls and snail mail. But that's what we've been faced with, and I think certainly my campaign has made some adjustments, and we're trying to be as flexible as we can so that we can rise to the challenge. So I really appreciate the opportunity to be with you this morning. I'm running for the United States Senate because, as I said, I'm not satisfied with the polarization, the inability to get things accomplished that we see on a daily basis. I have the support of my family, and my wife is just kind of joined off to the side. I'm trying to coax her to get on the screen to say hello, but she is a little reluctant right now. But we are committed to Georgia, have been committed to Georgia for a long time, and I am from Georgia. My parents were born in a little community in Georgia, Blythe, Georgia, which is right outside of Augusta. And part of what I tell folks is that one of the things that has drawn me most to public service is the experiences of my family. My father had to drop out of high school, and he entered the military. He was underage actually when he was able to get into the military. And the reason for doing that was that his father died when he was a sophomore in high school, leaving his family without a safety net. And so he joined the military to help provide for his mother and his sisters. And I'm always moved by the fact that my grandfather, who became ill while working at one of the KLN facilities in Jefferson County, Louisville, Georgia, became ill, needed medical attention, and the only solution available to him at that time was to throw him on the back of a truck and drive him to Augusta, the University Hospital. And obviously, by the time he got there, he had died. And to think that today, his grandson, who he never met, is running for the U.S. Senate, and we're still facing the same problems with healthcare that were faced back 80 years ago. Access to healthcare, access to adequate healthcare in a timely fashion for people of the state of Georgia. So that's certainly an issue that's extremely important to me, and one that I'm committed to working on as we go forward. The other is, quite naturally, my professional role as an attorney, and also my experience having clerked with Judge Dudley Bowen in the federal court, and then having served the Department of Justice under the Obama administration, is certainly concerned about what's happening with our criminal justice system. One of the things that we focused on as during my time as U.S. Attorney was just the racial imbalance. If you go into our prison system, and it doesn't matter whether it's at the state level or the federal level, you find that 75 to 80% of the people who are incarcerated are African Americans or Hispanic or some other race. And I don't believe, I don't accept, I don't embrace this notion that people of color have a greater propensity to commit crimes. I'm concerned about the studies that have come out of places like or organizations like the Brennan Institute that indicate that if you're Black or brown and you have an interaction with law enforcement, that if you're stopped, you have a greater there's a greater probability that you're going to be arrested. And if you're arrested, there's a greater probability that you're going to be convicted of some crime. And if you're convicted of some crime, there's a greater probability that you're going to be sentenced to some lengthy term of incarceration. And the fact that in 2020, in this country, that we incarcerate more of our citizens than any other country on the planet says a lot. I remember as a student growing up and going through the public school system, one of the things that we always learned in school was about the oppressive systems that you would find if you went to China or if you went to Russia, and how they would imprison people without adequate justification. Well, it seems like we have leapfrogged over them, and in our efforts to provide a safe, free society for all, our solution is to incarcerate a lot of people, which is what has happened. And so I would certainly like to continue some of the work that we started during the Obama administration by looking at the fair sentencing to make sure that what happens in our court system is consistent nationwide. That if you get arrested for an offense in Georgia or charged or arrested with an offense in California, that you can at least know that the punishment or what you face is going to be consistent nationwide. And then would not want to overlook the fact of what has been going on here over the past several months with the protests that stem from the George Floyd situation in Minnesota. Clearly, there needs to be some reform in terms of how we respond to situations like that. There needs to be a system in place where law enforcement who engage in proper behavior, who use or engage in excessive force on the citizens that they're supposed to be protecting and serving, if they cross that line, that there be a method by which they can be held accountable. I consider myself to be part of that community as a former prosecutor, but I recognize that there are a few in every group who operate outside the lines and outside the guidelines that are provided for their service. So I am not by any means anti-law enforcement. I do not support by any means this notion of defunding law enforcement and the notion that that communities can survive without adequate law enforcement. But I do support holding those who engage in wrongdoing and wrongful behavior. I do agree with a system that will allow us to hold them accountable, and that would be one of the things that I would embrace and pursue as the U.S. Senator for Georgia. I want to, and John, you can help me with this. I wanted to leave some time available for question and answer. I was told by my staff that I had about 10 or 15 minutes to talk to you, and so would like to hear from you in terms of what your expectations are for your next U.S. Senator. I believe in the democratic process. I believe that Georgians have the ability to make good decisions about those who are going to represent them, and I don't believe that we should allow our electoral process to be reduced to a situation where a few party extremists are allowed to dictate to us who's going to represent us in Washington. And that's a major reason why I'm in this race. I went through the process with the Democratic Party of Georgia and with the DSCC, whereby we were supposed to be vetted and that they were going to help us identify a strong candidate to run in this race as a Democrat for Georgia. That process deteriorated to, at the end of the day, although there were 3 people initially identified, myself being one of those 3 people, to go through a second phase of the process. They ended up selecting someone who didn't participate in the process at all, and it was based on the fact that some party extremists thought that this person, even though they didn't feel it necessary to offer themselves to engage with the rest of us, would be a better candidate. So I am very committed to taking my case to the people of Georgia and allowing them to make that decision, which is ultimately the way our system is designed. I'm happy to allow you to review my bio, my resume, my history and record of public service, and I would match that against anybody that's currently running for this office. And you'll see that I have a record. I have a record upon which I can stand. I have served faithfully in the state legislature. I've served faithfully in the Department of Justice as a member of the executive branch. And I've also served faithfully as a part of the judicial branch, starting with my early service as the judicial law clerk for the Augusta Division of the Southern District of Georgia. And I point out that there have been a number of firsts in my life. I was the first African-American judicial law clerk in the Southern District of Georgia's courts history. I was the first African-American, as I said, chairman and president of Leadership Georgia. I've been the first African-American to serve as the United States Attorney for the Southern District of Georgia. And I don't say that to highlight the fact of my race. I say that to let you know that I have a history of working with the people who are available to accomplish things on behalf of the community that I serve. And I'm not going to not help someone because they're not African American, and I'm not more prone to side with or agree with someone because they happen to look like me. I believe in following the law and doing those things that are appropriate to move our communities forward. I believe I have a record of that, and anyone who has worked with me, and I would encourage you to speak with John as well, will know that that's how I've lived my life and how I've patterned my life. So with that, I'll turn it back over to John. And if you have questions, I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Very good. Thank you, Ed. And I will defer back to the chair who's on this call. And if there's time to open it up for some Q&A, I'd like to do that at this time. And I'll mute and and wait to hear.
Yeah, so as Chuck mentioned, he had to run because of my position as 3rd Congressional District Chair. He's kind of asked me to be the acting chair for the rest of this meeting. Yeah, no, let's open it up to questions, and just due to my nature I'll start because I just have I have two. So Mr. Tarver, were you one of those? Did you retire from your position, or were you one of the many U.S. attorneys that were released by the current administration?
I was released, but I will qualify that and tell you that after the election, I had submitted notice to the Department of Justice to the Attorney General, U.S. Attorney General, that I had selected a date to leave office. And while I was preparing my exit, actually packing up my office, I received a phone call one Friday afternoon that indicated that the president wanted us out immediately. And so I was already headed that way. So technically I was fired, but I had I won't say a foot, I had a leg out the door already, and I just didn't move fast enough.
All right, and then just one more quick one, and then we'll open it up to everyone else. What is your website so that people can donate? That wasn't one thing I heard,
and I have that on my notes. Thank you, Jimmy. My website is tarverforsenate.com, www.tarverforsenate.com, and that's TARVER, and the word FOR, not the number 4.
All right, does anyone else have any questions for Mr. Tarver?
Yes, Ms. Cindy, I think you were muted when you raised your hand.
Hello, Mr. Tarver. It seems, well, with this whole, I guess what they're calling a jungle primary, complete mess anyway, some folks are pushing or are supporting Reverend Warnock. How do you differentiate from Reverend Warnock? What are the difference in your?
As to Reverend Warnock specifically, and I'll start by saying that I've only met Reverend Warnock one time. One of the things that I did as part of my due diligence in deciding whether or not to run was that I talked to members of the party. I reached out to people who had been identified as potential candidates to have that discussion, and he was one of the people that I reached out to. And for whatever reason, we were not able to connect. I did reach out to his office several times, and we were not able to speak. But the thing that I would point out, the difference between me and Reverend Warnock, is that he's never served in elective office. I've been elected by the people on 3 separate occasions to serve. I've served in the state legislature. Not only have I served in the state legislature, I have quite a bit of extensive experience in executive branch, having served in the Department of Justice as the U.S. Attorney. And I would say that during our time as U.S. Attorney for Southern Georgia, we were probably one of the more aggressive departments of justice in probably the history of the department, in terms of how active we were, our activist nature in addressing issues that were of importance to people at the time we were in office. And so we did a number of things. One of the things that I'm most pleased about was our focus and emphasis on reducing the size of the prison population, especially for nonviolent offenders who could be monitored and supervised in ways other than confinement. And we also were very actively engaged in outreach to the community, so that we talked to them about the impact of our tremendously large prison population and what was happening. I can remember one of the great, what I would view as a success stories, having had the opportunity to speak to the Chamber of Commerce, the business community in Savannah as U.S. Attorney. And when I explained to them that without doing anything more, every year, 6,000 convicted felons, prior felons, were being released back to Savannah every year, and that we had a choice whether or not we would find a way for those to re-enter society peacefully, or they were going to be left with the only option and that is to return to the criminal behavior that got them convicted of the felonies initially. And we also had an opportunity to, and this is probably digressing a little bit, but to make them understand that a tremendously large percentage of those who are convicted and sent to prison, they are parents, they're fathers primarily, and they have child support obligations. They have obligations to the mothers of their children. When they're released, they immediately assume obligations for providing for their health care and for providing safe housing for where they're going to live and for feeding themselves. And without if we adopt a blanket process where we exclude anybody that has a felony conviction from being able to work and re-enter society, then that just perpetuates the system that we're in. But back to your question, Cindy, I just think that I am the most qualified person on the ballot, who will be on the ballot in November. When you add in the experience that I gained during my 7 years as an artillery officer, where I not only was responsible for leading men, I was also the commander of an artillery, we call it battery, but it's a company. Served in that capacity for 18 months, where I actually was responsible for 135 men who reported to me, and I led them for 18 months. I also served in my capacity as the intelligence officer for an artillery battalion. And I can say that if I had to pick a period during my life where I matured and I grew up the most and the fastest, it was during the 7 years that I was on active duty, because it was a time where I had to learn to work with everybody. And I worked with people from all over the country and all over the world. I had people who I was responsible for who didn't look like me, who didn't come from Georgia. Many of them were from other parts of the country. And that was my challenge, to learn how to lead and to gain and to build their trust so that they would be comfortable following me. To suggest to anybody that people will follow your leadership simply because you put on a gold bar or you put on your captain's bars, and that they respect the rank, that's more pie in the sky. If people don't respect your leadership, if they don't believe that you're acting in their best interest, then they're not going to follow you. And so I learned that probably the most important thing I learned during my time in the military, and I've tried to take what I've learned from the military and apply it to my public service, my community service, and my life since I've left the military.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I really like what you've said so far. You just touched on really the question that I have, as far as, I know one person can't change the world, but I'm glad to hear that you are committed to working for all people and representing all people, because that's the biggest problem we have going on at the federal level, is the division, the hate, them against us. And we have to bring this country back together. I feel that we're going backwards as far as racial issues are concerned. And I don't think our country, hopefully our country doesn't want to go back to that. So we need people that are going to bring the country together again. We're all Americans. We all need to be treated as human beings. And it seems like you have vast, experience in so many areas, but really we need people that are going to stand up against this hate, this division. And, it's just sad to see where our country is going. So I like what you've said, and I'm glad that you are committed to working together, because if you don't work together, then we're not going to accomplish anything. And that's what's going on right now. So we need more people such as yourself in the Senate position. So thank you very much for coming out and sharing your platform with us.
Thank you for your comments.
Elsa, I think you had your hand up as well.
My questions were answered, and the former speaker said it all for me. I'm all in. You're very convincing, Mr. Tarver, and thank you so much for coming. You've informed us a lot, and we're very proud to have you on the ballot. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much. And I certainly enjoyed being here with you this morning. And I look forward to, I still hold out hope that I'll have an opportunity to get out and to actually see people face to face, and to one day be able to shake some hands again, and maybe even share a piece of fried chicken. This has been a very difficult election process.
Well, maybe
Thank
the
you.
fried chicken isn't such a good idea, given the pounds I'm putting on at home.
You sound like my wife.
Well, Ed, speaking of which, is Carol still in the room?
She is. Carol, come around and say hello, please.
We won't bite.
Yeah, if I could add just a few things to you, Mr. Travis. Thank you for your military service. Being a retired military officer myself, we need that experience of people that have served in the military to be in Congress so that they can have a well-balanced look at what America needs. So thank you for your service.
Thank you very much. But this is my wife, Carol. Carol's a pediatrician here in Augusta. She all her life has wanted to care for children, and that's what she does every day. And
Carol?
one of the things that we've been navigating is that throughout the pandemic, she has gotten up every day and gone to the hospital every day, and actually went to the hospital this morning to take care of some babies.
Thank you. Thank you.
God bless you.
Thank you.
I want to just mention for everyone that's on the call is that Ed will be having a Tarver for Senate campaign event via Zoom, of course, on Tuesday, August the 25th at 7 p.m. And that's especially for Coweta County folks, and look forward to that. I want to echo what Norman had said in terms of Ed's military service. If you take a look on the federal level at the Congress, it's amazing how few of our representatives have any military experience. Of course, we have a commander-in-chief who apparently, because of flat feet, is that right? Did not serve. So I think it's important that we have someone, this is my personal opinion coming from a military family, that we have someone with Ed's background. And of course, with his background in the law, in the executive experience with the U.S. Attorney's Office, so having served in the Georgia legislature, I feel that Ed would hit the ground running for us, the people of Georgia, from day one, should he be elected. I certainly hope he will be, and I hope you can support his candidacy. That's all I've got. Thank you, Ed. And
Thank you.
Coweta
Thank
County
you.
Democratic Party.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you.
All right, I will allow you to, I will leave your meeting, but thank you very much. I look forward to interacting with you again soon.
So do we.
You are, feel free to stay if you wish, but if you've got other meetings to jump onto, feel free to jump off.
Thank you. I have another appointment, but I will hopefully reach back soon.
All right, so the next order, there we go. The next order of business is the Neighborhood Nets Initiative. And Al, I see that you're on. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So thank you for giving this opportunity, and I appreciate Mr. Tarver for his information. I have to hold down space bar to stay unmuted. Okay, just very briefly, the Neighborhood Nets Initiative begins next Saturday at 12 o'clock at Boone Drive Park. I'm asking anyone who is going to help in this outreach to the community to meet me at Boone Drive Park at 11:30. Because of the COVID-19, Elsa, did you raise your hand?
I'm gonna be there.
Because of COVID-19, we have to be particularly cognizant health concerns. We are asking. I know Bonnie has a thermometer. We're gonna need the thermometer. We also need gloves and masks and hand sanitizer, and we're going to practice a strict 6-foot social distancing from one another and the participants. I don't know how many people are going to come out, but I also have been told by the NAACP that they're coming out, and the Citizens for Positive Reform are going to come and register people who need to be registered. And so even if the children don't show up, I need the adults to show up. We need to demonstrate in an atmosphere of COVID-19 that we can gather together for things that are important. This is particularly important to me because of the outpouring of support that I have gotten from supporters and friends and businesses who have contributed to the purchasing of the balls and the nets. Beverly Jennings and Heather have done, and Elsa, they have done great work at providing ice chest ice. People have given the snacks that we're going to give the kids. And we need to take advantage of this opportunity to go into these neighborhoods of which are seemingly left behind and show them that we are concerned. I'm concerned. We really need to try to get as many people who have not voted or don't vote all the time to participate in this particular election. I believe the chair said he doesn't expect Coweta County to turn blue, but I believe that if we do what we can do and are unafraid, and as John Lewis, his life legacy was that he went where you weren't supposed to go to and said things that you weren't supposed to say. And then this is what brings us to the freedom that we all want to enjoy. So if you can come out and help us make a presence, even if no children show up, we need to show up. Mm-hmm. The paper I haven't seen this weekend's paper, but I had an interview, and they are giving us some publicity in the paper. I have signs that are going up in the parks today for the event next Saturday. We have banners and some T-shirts are being printed to give away as prizes. So we need to try to make this work and make a way for folk who are unregistered or not active in the process to come on board. And if we can turn Coweta County blue, which is our goal, this is our goal, to turn Coweta County blue, then we make great strides to turning Georgia blue. But if we can't turn our county blue, I don't know how successful. Georgia could still turn blue, but we need to do what we can do locally. This is where our power is, and this is where our strength lies. And if this is one of the greatest opportunities I've seen since being a Democrat, other than running for office, is to reach into the community and let them know who are the CCDP of Coweta County. So if you can meet me we're going to go to 2 parks on Saturday, Boone Drive Park at 12 o'clock and Ball Street and Paul Street Park at 4 o'clock. All right, Alton, I see you are you going to bring Fluffy?
Question. Boone Street is the one that goes off north from the high school, correct?
Correct. And
the Google map shows that the little park is on the right-hand side, about halfway up.
It's at the intersection of Spring Street.
Next to Spring Street.
At the intersection of Spring Street and Boone Drive. It's a little park, basketball court behind that.
Okay.
They have 4 basketball goals. Okay.
Is it marked so that we can find it?
Yeah, I'll have a sign out there at the intersection of Spring Street. And if you turn on Lovelace Street, you can come beside the church and come actually down into the park area in your automobile.
Okay.
And there's parking on side streets, but there's also a way off of Lovelace to come past Burns Chapel, UMC, and you can almost park on the grass. There's plenty of parking back there.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Al, are we also going to be encouraging people to fill out the census as well? I know there's a lot, I mean, there's a lot of things we need to have people do, register to vote, actually vote, but I think the census is another big thing that, especially given the fact that with COVID, people have it's kind of lost, lost
Yeah,
the
and
forefront of people's mind.
I think the deadline is fastly approaching for the census to stop. If you have a device, a phone or a laptop, something like that, you may be able to help people with their census registration. I couldn't tell you for sure, but we will find out. Oh, okay, Cindy is saying that we can do that. This is what we will find out is what we don't know about the community. And you will never know if you're not there. And if we don't ever go, we'll never know. So you can't teach what you don't know, and you can't lead where you won't go.
Yeah, okay, if I can add to that, that's actually when we've done CPR's done a couple voter registration events, and that's one of the questions I ask everybody is, have you done your census? Most people that have already registered to vote have done their census. They can still do it for pretty much through the end of the year, especially online. I know the dear orange idiot is, sorry, can't be nice, is trying to shut down the door-to-door a month early and ending it at the end of September instead of the end of October. So, 2020 census.gov, that's what I keep telling everybody.
Okay, so if you have a vehicle and can help transport anything, ice chests, we got snacks, we got beverages. I got about 40 basketballs that I need to get in my truck, along with the ladder and the table to put the nets up. So if you have a truck and don't mind loading it up for all day, I would appreciate you helping us out, getting stuff to the parks and back. And hopefully we will give away almost everything that we have. So I appreciate everyone getting up, and the ones who will just help us get this promoted. And if you can make any type of presence, it would be so greatly appreciated. You'll never know. I came out of those communities, and my teachers pushed me and my coaches kicked me, and I didn't know why they were pushing me and kicking me. So, but now I know. And so there's some children out there that need to be pushed, pulled, and a few of them need to be kicked so that they can grow up and become productive, amen, in society.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty, so the next thing on our agenda is bumper stickers and swag. So I know that we every meeting we talk about the fact we have bumper stickers available. We ask for a few dollars donation. I think it's been talked about a few times to do some additional swag, so T-shirts or things like that. But those are available. Elsa, do you want to talk about that a little further?
I'm suggesting that this is a very good way to communicate, because how do we reach people? How do we message? How do we get a hold of them? And, with phones, banking, we're all going to do that, but a lot of people just don't respond. The text messages, we're going to do that. We hope that responds. But everybody in their car has a billboard. And we can get messages across through bumper stickers. And Al has provided his company to help print some. So if you'll allow me, we have Protect Social Security, which I think a lot of people would, what we want, I think, is some sayings like no new taxes. The Republicans are great at that. But we can get messages across that are quick, headlines. Here's another one. What does that say? Coweta Democrats, that's a good one. But also Medicare choice. There's a big issue now. Do we want to have Medicare for all? And some people are saying, I don't want to lose my employer. So Medicare choice anyway. And we'll have another one about vote by mail. And I've set up an email. If you find people want these, the email is dem.stuff.20@gmail. So there are 2 periods and demstuff20. And we'll hope people would give a small donation. If they don't, so be it. And they will be mailed one of these bumper stickers or more. You have a, how big is your bumper? You can have more than one message. But that's thanks to Al and his company printing them out, and we're going to do more of that. But we have an email for people to request it because it's hard to know how to, communicate with COVID. Cindy?
We also have T-shirts for the CCDP participants so that we will be identified. Ours are different color from the ones we're going to give the kids. So I forgot to mention that. But Elsa, thank you for that. And the bumper sticker, the last bumper stickers will be ready for Saturday.
Super, super.
Yeah, actually, I have the Coweta Dems and the Social Security one on the back of my car. When I came in, walking in the parking lot at the grocery store, I watch people, especially around here, they stop, they look, they stop like this, they check, and then they look at the Social Security one, and it seems to deflate them wanting to get pissy with me.
Yeah,
because
what we need are messages that everybody can agree on. We don't really want to be partisan with the messaging because we want to bring them in.
Exactly. That's why I thought I'd do the Coweta Dems one and then the security one, because that kind of, it explains what's important.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy.
All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the GOTV efforts. So Cindy, you have the floor.
Yeah. Well, things are starting to heat up. I don't know if everyone, well, some folks that are on this call heard me on Monday night when I said that in the month of July, 6,002 voters registered, new voters registered in Coweta County.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't attribute it to efforts of the committee at this point, but I really do think that the CPR group, of which I'm their voting reform lead, and just the protests have gotten a lot of voters around here to think about registering to vote. So I'm really pleased with that effort. With the days of COVID, we can't go door to door, which is, one of the most effective ways to get to folks and explain, the positions and the candidates and so forth. So I'll be setting up phone carding through Vote Builder and stuff, meeting with Chuck on that tomorrow. And then there will also be phone banks, Coweta County specific, that will be coming up after the August primary is over. So I'll be putting that out, and with Chuck will be putting it in the newsletter, and I'll be putting it on the Coweta Dems Facebook page, and working with Heather on Instagram, and get it on Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I do Twitter and I do Facebook. Instagram I haven't mastered yet, so but we'll get it out there to folks. And hope you will help out, because we just got to touch as many voters here as we can, especially with our reduced circumstances of actually shaking hands and saying hello in person. But that's all I had to add.
All right,
Good
thank
work,
you.
Cindy.
Yeah, no, so definitely with the fact that campaigning has completely changed under COVID, the phone banking and text banking and things like that are going to be especially important this cycle. They say you want to try to touch every voter 3 times. It's going to be even more difficult with the fact that you can't actually physically shake hands or even just canvassing. So it's very difficult, but I'm glad that there are plans. The coordinated campaign has definitely, while it's taken a little bit to have things going, the organizing that is happening from the state party, I think we're gonna see a lot of things happen very quickly. Just the last thing on the agenda is just any other candidates can speak. So we have 2 that are on the call. Obviously, Al is, while while he is an incumbent commissioner, he is running unopposed, but he is technically a candidate. And then we also have Jill Prouty. So I guess, Al, do you want to go first, and then we'll go to
and thank you for this opportunity. And Jill, I don't know if you've served before, and we had Brother Tarver was talking about his experience, and I have a different opinion of that. I don't know if he's ever had an experience as a United States Senator. Probably he has not. And any politician who is running for an office does not have experience in that area or in that vein. I'm not sold out that you have to have experience. I think a lot of, and I'm not against anybody, but if you're running for an office, a public office, you don't need experience in that area. What you need is a spirit of righteousness and the spirit of serving people. So anyone who tells you they have more experience than this, experience takes you, it doesn't take you anywhere. The president has no experience being president. Parents have no experience being parents. You have to learn what you are doing. You need to have a spirit of servitude, and that's what counts the most for me. And I just appreciate the fact that anytime someone questions me about my ability or my bona fides to serve as a commissioner, I just simply tell them I don't have all the answers. I'm looking for people in the community who I will speak to give me the solutions. If I knew everything, I wouldn't need to be trying to do anything because I would already have it all, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. But now, Al, you've got righteousness and experience. Can't miss, right?
Well, Elsa, I wouldn't say that, but I'm glad that you did. So thank you.
All right, Jill, if you want to go ahead and unmute and just tell us a little bit about what's going on.
Hi, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
I guess the biggest thing I want to let you all know and invite you to tune in is Wednesday, August 12th. I will be part of a Windlist webinar. I'll be part of their panel, and we're going to be discussing women's suffrage. So if you follow, you can go to the Windlist website, or if you follow them on Facebook, you can respond. And like I said, tune in on Wednesday, August 12th at noon. I think it's going to be an interesting discussion. And if you didn't, if you didn't know this already, 100 years ago, women's suffrage was the, what do I want to say, the culture war of the day. So, how far we've come, it's going to be an interesting talk, I think. And there's been an uptick in donations, so thank you for those who have contributed. It's every, dollar, every penny really is going to help us at this point. We have, I've ordered my first shipment of door hangers since, as Cindy mentioned, we won't be able to knock on doors this season, but we can hang things on those doors and leave them for people. So some of what we're going to be doing over the next couple of months is organizing volunteers who will go out into the neighborhoods and start putting these door hangers out. And we have a lot of people working on postcards, and I guess that's about it. We're really gearing up at this point. I've been interacting with a lot of folks online, and I feel really positive going into the fall. So thank you. Thank you for your support. JillForGeorgia.com. You can spell it out, or you can put Jill, the number, the 4GA.com. That'll work too. Follow me on Facebook. I guess I'd mention one more thing. Any of the posts, we're really pushing social media at this point. If you don't follow me, please follow me, and please share our posts. anytime you share, that's an enormous help in getting our message out. I guess another thing I'll mention is we're also going to be shooting some video ads as well that will be going out on social media. So anything you can do to share, that would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So before we adjourn this meeting, does anyone else have anything else they'd like to add? Information they'd like to share with the rest of the party? You know, just giving an opportunity for anyone to share anything.
Al, question. I have a truck, as you know, and if you need me to and need some help of getting some of that stuff over Saturday, where should I meet you and what time?
Okay, thank you, Norman, for that. And also, Cynthia said that she will make her truck available. So I can call you and give you my address, and if you could pick up the basketballs, that'll be great. I can get everything on my truck, but I don't know if I can get 40 basketballs and the table and the ladder and all that. But so we'll meet during the week at your convenience, and we can go to Walmart and buy almost every basketball they have.
Okay.
So, all right. If you do that, I'll be greatly appreciative.
Sure. Just get in touch with me, and we won't take the time from the meeting here, but just get in touch with me and we'll get it done.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Hey Al, Jennifer and I are going to donate a bottle of hand sanitizer for use during that event, as I know.
Thank you.
That's one of the most difficult things to get, it seems like. So, and we have an abundance, so we will donate a bottle.
Okay, and so I forgot to mention, there are no seats in the park. So if you have a folding chair or a stadium chair, or whatever, bring your chair so you have somewhere to sit. There is a pavilion, but there's no seating. So bring a chair with you. All right. Thank you, Jimmy.
All right. So seeing no additional information to add, I will call for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Seeing that, let's all vote. Everyone in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming. This meeting will be going up on YouTube in a few days, and
thank you, Jimmy.
we'll see you guys later.
Thank you.